Donald Trump spent last night posting videos of himself as he's exiting the courthouse from his criminal trial, yelling at Justice Merchan. Donald Trump is also spending the night, or has spent the night, posting memes about Whoopi Goldberg and other just completely unhinged and deranged stuff. But here's the video that Donald Trump posted, and here he whines about how cold the courtroom is. Play this clip.
To the country, I should be out campaigning now instead of sitting in a very cold courthouse all day long. This is a Biden.
And here in these completely unhinged videos that Donald Trump himself is posting of himself, Donald Trump just starts yelling at Justice Merchan while he is holding these papers in his hands. More on that in a moment. Let's play this clip.
And you should go out and check it out. But we have a corrupt judge, and we have a judge who's highly conflicted, and he's keeping me from campaigning. He's an appointed New York judge. He's appointed. You know who appointed him? Democrat politicians. He's appointed. He's a corrupt judge, and he's a conflicted judge, and he ought to let us go out and campaign and get rid of this scam. Every single legal analyst, even CNN, even MSDNC, they're saying there's no case here. Thank you very much.
That's right, Donald Trump there. You see him yelling at Justice Merchan, holding those papers in his hands. And remember, earlier in the day, he was reading from these papers, and he was reading from something that Greg Jarrett, a far right-wing reporter, wrote about Donald Trump. So Donald Trump pays this lady, I've talked about it before, over $100,000 a year to follow him around with a portable printer and print out favorable articles about him from right-wing propaganda media. Donald Trump then takes a Sharpie and he edits the articles. So if there's any negative references about him, he crosses it out. And then he goes and reads it to the media. Here's the one from earlier in the day where he was talking about Greg Jarrett. Let me show you this one. Let's play it.
It was just at the last minute they decided to do it. It's a case that, if you're looking back, it goes back many, many years, 2015, maybe before that. And it's a case as to bookkeeping, which is a very minor thing in terms of the law, in terms of all the violent crime that's going on outside as we speak, right outside as we speak. But this is a case where you pay a lawyer, he's a lawyer, and they call it a legal expense. That's the exact term they used, legal expense, in the books. And another thing that wasn't even said was we never even deducted it as a tax deduction. So that takes a whole vast, most people want to deduct everything. We never even took it as a tax deduction. But they called the payment to a lawyer a legal expense in the books. They didn't call it construction. They didn't say you're building a building. It called a payment to a lawyer because, as you know, Cohn is a lawyer. Represented a lot of people over the years. Now, I'm not the only one. And wasn't very good in a lot of ways in terms of his representation, but he represented a lot of people.
And then on his social media platform, he then posts the Greg Jarrett post about him. And it's such a bizarre statement that Greg Jarrett's making. And it's like, what in the world are you even talking about? It says, a crime that's not charged and a crime in which prosecutors won't even tell the defendants what it is. It's a mystery crime. This is such an egregious violation of the Sixth Amendment. This judge is so biased. First, let's be very clear. It was a grand jury of Donald Trump's own peers that indicted him. It's not a mystery crime. It is a falsification of business records crime. It is a crime that lots of other people get charged with. You can't falsify business records, and then when you do it in connection with a other crime, it becomes a felony under New York law. It's not a violation of his Sixth Amendment rights. It's just the constant whining by Donald Trump and the self-referential whining, right? Like earlier in the day, Donald Trump had MAGA Republican senators like Tommy Tuberville who whined how unfair everything was for Donald Trump. And then J.D. Vance, the MAGA Republican from Ohio, whining about how unfair everything was for them. They showed up and they whined. And then here, Donald Trump references J.D. Vance whining, and Donald Trump's like, look, even J.D. Vance said that this is unfair. Here, play this clip.
Country, and we have a lot of them that want to come. I say just stay back and pass lots of laws to stop things like this. J.D. Vance, what's going on in that courtroom is a threat to democracy, and we cannot have a country where we get to prosecute your political opponent instead of persuading voters.
And it's just this constant loop of whining and more whining. By the way, as you scroll through Donald Trump's social media and what he's posting, you have this: Canada doesn't want you, Whoopi Goldberg. Nobody does. Why are you posting bizarre things? Canada doesn't want you, Whoopi Goldberg. Then you look at the account that he amplifies. Robertus Trump is what the account's called. Just think about it. All these right-wing people, they create these accounts, Robertus Trump, and they call themselves, just very strange. As you scroll down also, they sell Trump flags. They've replaced the American flag with Trump flags. They've replaced, this is from Trump's feed, some of the advertisements that show up. They have Trump poker cards is one of the things that they're grifting and selling, limited edition poker cards. And as all of this is going on, you saw the Snopes fact check true on some of our reporting and some of the other reporting out there. Like it's a true fact that these Trump supporters have been going to Donald Trump's events and they're wearing diapers now. And they say real men or real women wear diapers because, as it's been reported, that Donald Trump's, stench is whatever. So the Republican MAGA cult base, they want to show how supportive they are of Trump by going out there and wearing diapers. I mean, the whole thing is incredibly strange. Oh, here's this Robertus Trump account again. Either the deep state destroys America or we destroy the deep state, is what they say. Like, what in the world are they even talking about? By the way, as Donald Trump was walking away from that press conference, he didn't put this clip in the video. He was asked by a reporter, when's the next time you're going to be on a campaign trail instead of mingling with wealthy donors? Play this clip.
You'll be on the campaign trail instead of mingling with wealthy donors.
And here's Donald Trump being asked what he has to do with Hannibal Lecter and why he's giving speeches, campaign speeches about Hannibal Lecter. Watch him walk away earlier in the morning. Play this clip.
Mr. Trump, who's with you in the courtroom today?
Why Hannibal Lecter? Do you plan to testify? All right, there you hear from Donald Trump as he heads back into the courtroom today.
And just so you see, when Donald Trump was at that Wildwood, New Jersey event, I've shown you this clip, but just you have to watch it again. It's so bizarre. Donald Trump giving a speech about Hannibal Lecter and how the late, great Hannibal Lecter, Donald Trump calls him. It's so utterly strange. Here, play this clip.
Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen the Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner. As this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner, but Hannibal Lecter, congratulations, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. We have people that are being released into our country that we don't want in our country.
Throughout the evening as well, you had Donald Trump's surrogates out there, like here, Rudy Giuliani saying that nothing bad happened when Donald Trump was in office. Play this clip.
Whatever his deficiencies, we lived through 4 years of Trump, and surely nothing terrible happened. We would say a lot of great things happened.
Or Donald Trump had Eric go on right-wing media and talk about how, what's wrong with this $130,000 payment? It's just a legal expense. It's a legal expense. What else would you call it? It's not. It was a hush money payment to interfere with an election. Here, play this clip.
And yet they're going back to a $130,000 payment that a man made in his individual capacity that he booked on his personal ledger as a legal expense because it was paid to his longtime attorney. And he gets 34 felonies. Remember, Al Capone got 1 felony. My father gets 34. I mean,
And then just going inside the courtroom, Lawrence O'Donnell was there, talking about, we have so many sources inside the courtroom talking about how Donald Trump continued to fall asleep throughout the day as Michael Cohen was testifying. Lawrence O'Donnell also talks about how Donald Trump's lawyers basically had to give him a coloring book so he could be entertained by doodling on these articles, and how Trump was looking at crowd sizes. And that's how he was spending his day here. Play this clip of Lawrence O'Donnell.
The Trump behavior as a defendant is the most absurd defendant behavior I've ever seen. First of all, there is the eye closing, which he now does about 10 minutes into the proceeding. And I think he's doing that to try to prove to us that he's actually not sleeping because it's only 9:40 a.m. But the eyes are closed for extended periods of time. The head starts to tilt. And then when he's not doing that, I actually saw him looking at photographs and I could see over his shoulder of what appeared to be crowds, possibly photographs of his rally this weekend, stuff completely unrelated to this case.
Also, CNN had an individual who was inside the courtroom who did some great reporting as well about what was going down. A former retired judge right here, Judge Grasso. Listen to what he has to say. Play this clip.
He describes an angry Trump confronting him, saying, "I thought you took care of it. I thought you had this under control." And then Trump going on to say, according to Michael Cohen, this, meaning the Stormy Daniels scenario breaking, is a total disaster. Women will hate me. Guys will think it's cool. But this is going to be a disaster for the campaign. That's almost one of the last thing the jurors heard before the lunch break. And I can tell you, as I was keeping an eye on jurors and making my notes, they seem to me to be riveted by this testimony. This is so crucial because one of the main goals for the prosecution that Michael Cohen has is to establish a motive and intent directly on Donald Trump that would cause him to take the steps that ultimately led to the $130,000 payment and be involved and be knowledgeable about it. So to me, by far, Wolf, that was the most compelling testimony of the day.
So far, he's been a strong witness for the prosecution. Is that your bottom line?
Absolutely. He comes across poised, cool, calm, and collected. When I saw the Trump team,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say at the break, Trump came in with a huge entourage today, about 23 individuals, including Senator J.V. Vance, Senator Tom Tuberville. When they left at the break at about 11:30, that was one somber-looking group. That was my eye, and I was sitting right in the aisle seat. So I don't think they're all too pleased about what they're seeing so far.
And here's here's the testimony, here's the reporting, rather, of Rachel Maddow about the testimony, what was going down, what Michael Cohen testified to. Here, play this clip.
Seems considerably older, and he seems annoyed, resigned, maybe angry. He seems like a man who's miserable to be here. And that's, I'm no body language expert, and this is just my observation, but he seemed old and tired and mad when he came.
So take all of that for a moment, and I just want you to compare it with what President Biden's been talking about, because I think, as President Biden said, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. So President Biden's talking about 6 years ago, Trump came to Wisconsin holding a golden shovel and promised to build a new manufacturing complex. He failed to deliver. Last week, I visited the same site to announce a $3.3 billion investment that's going to create thousands of new jobs. Actually delivering and not talking about Hannibal Lecter. That's kind of a refreshing thing. Or President Biden writing, Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are fighting to slash taxes on billionaires and let special interests rip off Americans. I will keep fighting for the middle class and hard working families. I don't know, like real things President Biden's talking about. Or how about President Biden talking about 56,000 infrastructure projects and counting are now going up across the United States of America. 56,000 infrastructure projects. And how about President Biden saying infrastructure week was a punchline during the prior administration? On my watch, things are actually happening. On my watch, we're seeing shovels in the ground, cranes going up, and people hard at work rebuilding America. We're not just delivering an infrastructure week, we're delivering an infrastructure decade. So folks, judge for yourself about the difference here. I'll leave that to you. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.